Hello, my name is David Ogletree and welcome to Marketing Tech. Today I'm interviewing Jim Hedger. Welcome, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
Jim Hedger, I've known, I don't know, over at least 10 years or so around that time. I've actually been a guest on your show, Webcology, a couple times, and with him and Dave Davies. Um, how you doing today?
As good as can be expected. This is the beginning of September. It's the day after Labor Day. We're 6 months into the COVID crisis. It just turned cold enough in Toronto, where I live, that I was woken up by my furnace turning on this morning. So, I'm as good as can be expected at the end of summer. How about you?
Well, we still have summer here. You and I talked about that on the Facebook this morning, actually, where we're still in the 90s in Houston. And I like to joke around, we have two seasons in Houston. We have summer, and are you sure it's not summer? it's, we get winters of 75 degrees most of the time, and we'll get like a 1 week of freezing weather, and then we're talking 32, 28, something like that at the worst. And that might be 1 or 2 days a whole year.
Um, it's yeah. I mean, what's pretty cool? Having a conversation about the weather and that being a meaningful thing in this time when most of our conversations are about dread, doom, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah, I'm actively trying to get more of those kind of conversations. I end up getting kind of down, and a lot of us are. I see online. I have a lot of friends, and we talk. And we have a lot of mutual friends, and we're talking about these things. And some of them are pretty, um, you know, pretty down. End of world times kind of down. And I get that way too a couple times, but I don't think I'm all the way there yet.
I think in our industry there's I imagine it's like this for all sectors, but there's a sort of like a graduated level of experiences that we're having. Some of us are really fortunate. We have good clients, stable clients, ones that weren't as much affected by some of the things that come with the pandemic, like lockdowns, not being able to socialize, not being able to have a number of people in an indoor space. Think how many businesses that affects, and all of the supply chains that get affected by the pandemic, by the lockdowns, and by how we need to react to keep ourselves healthy. Anyone who
Yeah,
is serving those kind of clients, the world looks really bleak to them right now.
yeah. I know some people that are marketers in the travel industry, and that is pretty tough right
Yeah,
now. So,
but
well,
there's other sectors that are doing are I don't think anyone's doing as well as we would be had we stayed on the trajectory pre-COVID. But
sure.
there's other sectors that are doing quite well, and for many people in our industry who tended to work from home anyway, uh, COVID has been an inconvenience, but it's not the end of the world. But no
Right.
matter what, it's terrifying. We all have this like very real sword of Damocles hanging over our heads, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always work at home because I'm legally blind. I can't drive. So it's best for me to work at home since I can't drive to work, and it's a real inconvenience have my wife drive me to work and stuff. And plus it's hard for me to work for someone else. I really like to be in
Yeah.
charge. I'm sure you can relate.
Oh, indeed. In the last few years, it's been a weird few years. I'm in my early 50s, and up until a couple of years ago, I had an agency with partner Alan Connect. One of the things that comes with getting older is things like strokes and heart attacks, and he had one and I had the other. So
Oh,
the
wow.
agents, yeah, scary stuff. I mean, he's fine, and I'm fine,
Yeah, I remember
but
that you going through that. Yeah.
that changes the way you do things, and it changes the way you look at things too, eh?
Hmm.
Alan had the health issues first, and he pulled out of the company saying, "Look, I've got to be realistic here. There's only so many hours I can spend in front of a screen right now, and I really want to spend those hours with my family rather than staring at a computer monitor." Um, and then 10 months later, I had my heart attack, and it was the same sort of thing. It really puts things into perspective. love the industry, fascinated with search, fascinated with machine learning and artificial intelligence, and all the different places that we've gone in the 20 years I've been in SEO, and all the places where it looks like we're going in the next 20 years. But when they talk about work-life balance, it takes an existential event sometimes to remind us that the life part is really important.
Right. I'm kind of the other way around. I see people that are real type A, and they say the work-life balance kind of thing, and I have issues with that as well. But I'm the other direction. I tend toward not wanting to do things, so I have to make myself go to work. It's kind of thing. I love what I do, but sometimes I just I don't like doing all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I make enough money to pay my bills, and my house is paid off, my car's paid off. So it's hard for me to I don't need $1 million right now.
It is so, I mean, can you imagine not having this career, having not
Right.
found SEO or SEM?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was in IT before this, and that definitely requires you to be somewhere most of the time, and underneath desks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really do enjoy this kind of thing. And my favorite part of this business is, well, because I'm a people person, I just love talking to different kinds of people. And I do training, so I get to meet different people all the time. They come in with me, and I love learning about different types of businesses. It's amazing what people make money doing these days.
Absolutely. I'm more of an introvert myself. I mean, I love people and I love finding their stories and helping them tell their stories. Um, but honestly, I'm much more interested in how we make things work.
Right.
I got into search partially because I'm an idealist. I honestly do believe that we can make a better world if we all work on it. And I thought availability of information would be a key component in creating a better world. Little did I know. Um, but once you get involved in at one time we called search quote unquote information retrieval. Um, Once you get involved in that kind of stuff, and you think of the scope that we work at, I mean, 1 billion documents doesn't seem like a hell of a lot anymore.
Right.
Um, it's fascinating. It's unending fascinating, and our work has literally changed the way people do things online for good and for bad. But to have a career that gives you this kind of freedom, that lets you work. I don't. I'm not going to say how many hours a week I work, and you probably shouldn't either, because people will get really angry at us. Um, but and incidentally, just for the viewers at home, I don't know how you deal with what you call work time. I was trying to explain this to my clients. I don't bill my clients for learning time, and the first 2 hours of any good SEO's day is learning time. When you're catching up on all the stuff that people had thought of the day before,
Right.
or the night before, or whatever, or you're reading SE Roundtable and all the 9 or 10 articles that Barry wrote since the last time you checked his website,
Right.
which was probably an hour ago.
Right.
Um, there's no other career out there that I think would give us this kind of freedom, this kind of intellectual stimulation, and
Right.
the ability to affect so many different types of lives, so many types of businesses. You're into it. You're into it to, or one of the things that really gets you going is seeing the kind of businesses out there. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's hearing the people's stories and finding out
Yeah.
what motivates them in life and stuff. And there's no other career that would give us access to such a variety.
Yeah. Oh, I love learning things. I mean, I've had people that sold gravestones. You could go online and type out what you wanted to and give them your credit card, $100, and they send you a stone, and you can, it's random, the kind of things you learn.
Incredible,
Um,
truly
I,
incredible.
yeah, I sold bread in a can. It was they sold MREs and stuff like that. It was, and one guy sold just light bulbs for TVs. And so there were like a million different kinds of bulbs for the TV. It's funny.
Oh, for those old 3-color projectors. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this was 2009, I guess, or eight, something like that. But yeah, it's funny. I mean, even the flat screen TVs have some, especially the backlit ones will have a light bulb in them of some sort. But
I
yeah,
can't think of
it's
I can't think of the weirdest client I ever had. I can think of the hardest one I ever had, or the most inconvenient one,
Yeah.
and they were actually one of the best ones I ever had too. They were a national, an American national um, bed, bathroom, and kitchen fittings distributor. And the bedroom and the kitchen stuff, easy to deal with. It was the bathroom and especially the bathtubs that drove me crazy. They had, I kid you not, over 90 different lines, brand lines of bathtub, and many of those brands would have two or three or four different makes of tub. Now, I'm an SEO. We're all about describing products and creating web copy. This might seem like a problem to you, but 90 brands of bathtub, each of which has two or three different lines of tubs. How do you write original copy after the 45th bathtub? It holds water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be said about a lot of things. When I was doing Army surplus, I mean, how do you just describe a difference between a pink and a orange camo? I mean, that's the only difference is one's pink and one's orange.
It really
They have the
depends what
same.
ice cream factory you're hiding in, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I guess you could get more creative about what you're going to do with it. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Like seriously, where do you hide in pink camo?
Yeah.
That's why you never see soldiers in candy floss. They're that well hidden.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Pink camo was one of their top selling things. Pink and orange, those are the two top selling camos. I
But
thought that was surprising.
I could see that um, hunting season and mating season makes total sense to me.
From what I remember, I don't hunt, but I think the deer can't see the color, so they actually wouldn't matter if it's pink or.
Oh yeah, but the other hunters can see it, can see the bright
Yeah,
orange.
that's the point. That's the point. Yeah.
Then that's a good indicator. Unless you're tiger hunting, don't shoot it. And if you are tiger hunting, you shouldn't be in the States.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you. I ask all my guests. So, what computer do you use normally for your daily work?
I use an ancient. Actually, it's not so ancient. It's only 4 years old. It's a Acer laptop, 8700 edition, 3.2 megs. It's a great little computer. I'm really happy with it. And like all Acers, its fatal flaw is the display. The display craps out on you like 6 months into using it. So I have two monitors running off of it, but the damn onboard monitor doesn't work.
Oh wow! So how much memory do you use? Have?
I honestly don't know. A lot. I'm able to run Screaming Frog.
Okay. That does require a lot. Quite a lot.
Now,
So
again, my computer's just starting to. I mean, like when a computer gets old and it starts to slow down, and what used to take seconds now takes what feels like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there now, so I'm probably about time to upgrade.
Yeah, I just got a new one. I got the new HP 360 Spectre, and it's one of those two-in-ones where it actually will turn into it flips all the way around and turns into a tablet.
Oh yeah.
And I've been really happy with that. I got a coupon from Best Buy and I got $200 off of it. So I was like, oh, cool.
When I was doing client meetings, I really wanted a computer that would do that.
Yeah, it's really
so
handy.
you could just turn it around. But I can't imagine doing an in-face client meeting anymore, eh?
Yeah. So if you do get a laptop, let me tell you, go make sure that it has the hard drive is what's called an NVMe, and that it's like Nancy, Victor, Mary, Echo, or something like that. NVMe,
Okay.
and those are the fastest hard drives, and it'll the machine will work a lot better and last a lot longer in that particular sense. Those things are really great, and at least 16, probably 32 gigabytes of memory. And my particular one has a real nice video card in it for gaming and stuff. But if you don't play games, you probably don't need that.
Oh, well, no, a whole bunch of memory gets stored in the video card now, and a number of applications work off of the vid card memory. So I think you'd want something strong no matter what, eh?
Yeah, I think I know for a fact Adobe Premiere does that. And actually, next month, I think it's October 20-something, 23rd maybe, Adobe is having a big free conference called Adobe Max. And I've scheduled pretty much the entire 3 days of classes or sessions. But they're essentially just classes. And I did the Adobe Premiere route because of my video making now, and they have all the other Adobe products as well. At any given time, there's probably 6 or 7 or 8 different sessions going on.
Now, you're a veteran of conferences. You went to conferences for you spoke at conferences and attended conferences for years, eh? Um,
Yeah.
how do you find the difference between the online learning environment and the in-person conference environment?
Well, it's special for me in the sense that actually learning from sessions, it's better online for me because I can't see anything in the conferences. So I might as well be online anyhow. I'm just, I can't see them. So that's what I end up, it's really hard for me. And also it's harder for me to pay attention because I have to, it's really hard. I mean, I have ADHD and I'm blind. And so it's hard for me to realize what I look like sometimes. So I have to be real careful and hold still. Otherwise, I'm at home, I'm moving around and doing stuff. I'm doing the whole, moving my head around like, I forget the guy's name, that singer. uh, so it's something that's a lot of blind people have to do. We're not used to seeing other people and what they actually do. So I'm so aware of trying to make sure I hold still and not bobble too much.
I'm funny.
So
I'm like, oh, sorry.
I was going to ask you, so when you're working on your daily computer, what is your structure in the sense of tabs in Chrome? Do you keep a bunch of tabs open, or do you?
Yeah, I do, and this is actually becoming a problem. Again, because the computer's starting to slow down, and
Right.
it's an aging problem. One of the things I liked about Chrome was how you could have a bunch of tabs open, and unlike the last version of Firefox I used before moving to Chrome, it didn't become a super memory hog. But I think that's changing. Something is I don't know if it was something that happened with Chrome or something that happened with one of the applications I use very frequently, and I'm thinking it's Facebook. But Chrome has suddenly become a memory hog.
Yeah, it's been that way for a little while. And what the reason is that I remember exactly when it started. It was
Hmm.
they announced something called Prerender. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's what they're basically trying to. They'll actually essentially crawl, and I wonder if Google's actually using that as part of their crawler. But it will actually crawl to the next page and preload things, hoping that trying to predict what you're going to click on. That's one of the reasons.
Is this why? And you know what? I'm not gonna name the journal, but we all know it. We read it daily. Is that why one of the major trade magazines has become almost unusable now?
Possibly, and that is part of I think one of the issues with that is just ad
Oh my
issues nowadays.
God.
People are loading more and more ads. And if
Well,
you go
and
look
as
at
your screen, as your browser is trying to pre-render what you're looking at and the next page, and you have all this bloatware from the ads, that would explain it.
Yeah, it just kind of gets worse and worse. One of the issues with any website, because we all look at websites all the time, and you go to them and you're like, good Lord, how many different JavaScripts do you have loading? And it's just trying to convince people that load time is important, and even if it had nothing to do with SEO, it's still important. I like to talk about Marissa Mayer talking about this at some IO thing or something that Google did years and years ago when she was still at Google. And she talked about when she was working with Google Maps launch
Mm.
and how that they had the page a certain size. I can't remember what it was. It was less than 500 uh, megabytes or something. It was, or K, I'm sorry, 500K. And and she said they just lowered it a little bit. I think they got it down to 120K, and then that
Wow.
improved their click-through rate and their response rate by 20 or 30% or something ridiculous. So and I try to tell people that story, but it's so that story isn't very relatable because so many people, we're talking megabytes or 5 megabytes or some ridiculous huge web page. I've seen some nightmares.
Marissa, I really miss the influence of people like Marissa Mayer in the industry.
She's
Now,
smart.
yeah, I understand from ex Googleites that she was crazy making. Like it was impossible to work for her because you would never make her happy ever. But she had such a dedication to detail and
Right.
to user experience. down to like the micro shade of a color on that appeared on page, and this would
Right.
drive Googleites crazy. But and when she went to Yahoo and what happened, that's all really unfortunate. Because I think she was much better than her reputation post Yahoo. Um,
Yeah.
but we need people who have that kind of dedication to detail to work the web again. You asked about Chrome and tabs earlier. I have a million tabs open at any given time. So I'm doing a million things at any given time. How many tabs does it take to open Google Analytics? You got 3 tabs right there. And yeah, you can close the 2 introductory tabs, of course.
Yeah.
You want to keep your middle one open because that leads you to the other products. But in the course of a day, you can have like 20 tabs open, and you feel like a Mac user suddenly.
Yeah. And of course, I'll close the one tab that I need on accident,
Yep.
But I learned Shift T or Control Shift T, I forget which one, and I just automatically do it. I don't think about it. It'll open the last one you did. So sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just closed. I'll have to do it a bunch of times to see where was that thing I had last, so, or go search in my history or whatever. But yeah, I try not to keep open too many because I look at the top of the screen to kind of see what each tab is. But if I get too many, I don't even know what each. I mean, I have no idea what any tab is at that point because they're all jumbled together and they're tiny little things.
The other problem with the way tabs are, as you say, they're across the top of your monitor, and many other applications. I just had this. I just had this like super tense. It was a good call. It was a good call, but we're talking about like this is a very, very large client. So we're talking very large numbers in a time when business is slowing down. So a little bit of tension there because these people are fairly large numbers.
Right.
And I've got all these reports open. I have all these spreadsheets. I've got everything for this meeting. It's everything. I can just click to it right away, right? And I have Google Analytics various pages open in tabs across the top of the screen, and we're using Zoom as the conference environment. And Zoom will put a little control bar that goes across the top of the screen, and you have to consciously move that control bar before you can operate with tabs. But you got to be real careful because if you touch the wrong place on that control bar, you shut down the meeting.
Yep, I've had that problem too.
And so I don't want to do that. I'm terrified of doing that. I'm a very neurotic fellow, um, and so I don't want to do the wrong thing, especially if the wrong thing leads to something stupid.
Right.
That was the one thing I loved about the presidency of Obama was what was called the Obama Doctrine, which was don't do stupid things. That makes sense to me.
Yep.
And so don't touch the wrong thing in this incredibly important conference call, but you still got a tab. Jump between tabs. I did not know the keyboard control until just now, but how to jump between tabs. Thank you very much, sir. And so I'm just excruciatingly like I got this little millimeter that I can click on to get the right tab to get to the right place in the report. But of course, I have so many open, I don't know exactly which tab I'm clicking on, and my computer's slowing down.
Right.
I feel like it. I'm sorry.
One of the things that I do is in that particular situation is, I mean, I don't actually run any of my Chrome browsers or at full screen. So I usually just pull it down a little bit so that it's below that. So I don't have to actually just shape it to it where it's below that.
Does that save memory or save? Does that speed thing up for you, or just makes it easier to find where you're going?
It makes you not click in the wrong place, essentially. I mean, I never really tested it. I suppose I'm not sure about that, but I have a really powerful machine, so nothing really slows it down. I mean, I could probably open a million tabs. I mean, almost literally, or probably 1,000 or something.
As you were setting up the video environment for the show, I was looking at your desktop. It's right behind where you're sitting right now.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty powerful looking unit.
Oh yeah, I just built it. It's AMD, the top, one of the top AMD Ryzen 9 3900 XT, and then it's got a 2080 Super video card and it's 32 megabytes of RAM, or gigabytes of RAM, and it's really a fast machine. I could play pretty much any game at full settings. It's really nice.
Right on.
So, Well, this has been really a lot of fun. What was the name of your company? I forget. Just your name or
Digital Always Media.
Digital Always Media with Jim Hedger, and of course Webcology. What day does that come on? Is that Thursday?
Webcology, webmasterradio.fm, Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.
And
We
then
usually have a guest, or it'll just be SEO. I'm the well-known SEO, Dave Davies, and I riffing on whatever dumbass things have happened in the tech world that week.
yeah,
And
Dave
I shouldn't
Davies
say
was my
dumbass
first
things.
guest.
Sorry?
Dave Davies was my first guest, actually.
Oh, that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can go watch it. Anybody else can go back and watch that if you watch this on YouTube, and you can subscribe to it. And we actually have a podcast now, marketingtech.show. You can actually go and see the podcast or search Apple Podcasts, and I'll put a link into the video as well. And thank you so much for coming to Marketing Tech and talking with me today.
Well, thank you so much, David. It was a lot of fun and well done. I'm glad to see this series out there.
All right, thank you so much.
Be
Bye-bye.
well, bro. Bye bye.